Okay, guys, so it is time for us to start not sending an email. Remember, in the previous video, we sent the email already, and it's time for us to like verify the confirmation code that was sent to our email. So first, let's create a form or model form because this is going to work through a form. So from models, import receive code. And now let's create a model form. So you can name this however, but I'm going to say verification form. In this case, it's going to be verification form. It's going to come from the forms that model form, and then class meta be the models be equal to receive code, and the fields to be receive code. Okay, now we've created the form. Then let's try to import this form within the views. So I already made an import of the registration form, so I can just paste this right here. So now let's create sort of like a logic for handling this how do you call it, verification form stuff. So first we start by defining a function. So I'll say verify confirmation code, and then pass in a request. Then I'll return the template. So return render request and account slash account underscore verify .html. I think I've already created this, so if you go in the templates, you see this account verify.html. So that's how I'm getting it. Next thing, we create a context. Now, so the first thing we need to do here is that we have to pass. Remember, okay, let me show you what I mean. On this in this model, right? If you go back to your model, this right here, we first need to pass it. We first need to like we can say, let me show you what I mean by that. We'll go back to the view. We can say receive code. So we say receive code equal to receive code. The object filter where the user is equal to request.user. Now let's set up the form, set it to verification form where request.post or none. Now let's check. So if the form is valid, then we can say enter code is just a variable. Enter code.form.save. Enter code assign it to the form.save. Commit should be equal to false. So this is not basically saving the form yet, but we will save the form later. Now let's get that form, which is receive code equal to form the clean data. Now we can access that receive code form. Now the next thing would be to send the code. The next variable will be to access the send code model, because we're trying to loop through that send code model and assign it to something. So what we can do now, we can say ver code, you can name this however, you can rename this send code. Then we access this send code model that objects filter. Then we pass in the request and dot request user. Now we can loop, so we can say for the code, right, for the verification code that's saved within the send code model in, right, in this variable, because now it's been assigned to this variable code. Now we can say, we can create another variable to assign it, so we can say send ent equal to variable dot send underscore code. And how I'm getting this send code, you remember in the models, let's go back to our models here. We have this send code, which is basically where the confirmation code is being stored within the database. So I'm trying to access it using this dot method. So dot send code. Now we can say if the enter code is equal to send, then enter code dot user is request dot user. Now we can say enter code dot save. Now enter code dot save. Then once it's saved, we can return the user to the login page. So once the person enter in the verification code and it is correct, then the user should be redirected to the login page, where you can even put a message saying this is the, and that you can implement a message, but I'm not going to do this in this video. So I'm just going to return a render request account slash login dot html. So if the user enter in a wrong code, then they should be redirected to a message telling them that, hey, this verification's failed. So we can pass in an else statement saying return render request and account slash verification. I already created this template, verification fill dot html. As you can see, we have verification fill dot html. Yeah, so everything seems to be okay, but we have to pass in the context now. So now we can say context and form. And another thing we can also do here, we can also create context here. Create context right here, just to pass what's going on, context. Okay, then after we pass in this context, we can pass in this enter code, receive code, and verification code. So in here, we just paste that right there. I made a mistake. So this can be enter code, this can be receive code, and this can be for code. Now you just set it equal to enter code. It should be equal to receive code. This should be for code. So that is basically it. And the next move will be to then create the URL. So you can go to this your URL, right? Go to your URL, and then you can just copy one of these paths. And just make the changes. So in here, we just copy this function. First, we can call this verify, or you can say account. We name it account verify. So then we can pass in the function, which is we can pass in the function right here. and then the name. The name can be account verify. And yeah, then the next thing would be to pass in the form within the templates. So in the account, I think I already did that if I'm not mistaken. In here, because we already have the form. So okay, in this form group, you can just remember we have form pass in the template. So we can just say very receive code. We receive code. I guess that is it we need to do. And also in here, displaying the verification message, we have to link. Okay, already there. I already created this link. Okay guys, I think this is it. So I can go over everything. So first we import the created form class. We created this form, right, which is an meta class that's referencing this receive code, and the field is receive code. And then we import this form in here. We import it in here. We import the form, and then we created logic for handling the verification process. Now we create a context. We say the receive code to filter by the user. We set the form equal to the form that was created, and it takes in request and post. We check if the form is valid. We pass in enter code is just a variable, and I'll show you guys the enter code stuff in action. So enter code, we set it equal to form.save, say commit equal to false. Then receive code is basically the form clean data, and then this var code here is basically trying to loop over this send code. So we say var code equal to send code that objects filter the user. Then we loop to it and assign send to it. Then we perform a condition saying if the enter code is equal to send, then we can save it, right? Once it's saved, we return the user to account login. We pass in context here, and else if it false, then we can return to a verification field, and also we pass in this context. Remember, the last step would be to pass in the context in this right here. So that is it. Now we can check to see if there's any error. If there's any error, we can try to debug the error together. But I think this is pretty much okay, and that is it. So let's check to see if this will work. So let's say it's not running. Let's say Python manage the py run server, and let's see if we will get an error. Let's see. I don't know why it always takes long to run on my computer. Okay, it seems to be working fine. So now let's try to test everything again. Let's test everything again. So it seems to be working fine. So let's try creating a user again. So we enter the username, the email, user, password. Let's try going through the whole process now. So let's send the email. Let's see if this will work. Now I'm waiting for the email. Okay, let's be patient. Okay, the email was sent, so which means that functionality was okay. So now let's click on the verify account. Boom, we have an error. A type error. Context must be context type error. So let's go back in here into my view and see what's the error I make. Context. Context. Yeah, I can't understand. Let's see what's the error I make. What's the mistake? Oh, okay. So I forget to pass in this form. Okay, guys, I'm sorry. Very a dumb mistake there. Okay, that should be it. This should work. Okay, so now as you can see, it came true. Now let's go to the email. That was a really dumb error, you know. Sometimes when you program, you always, you know, have some make some little mistakes. These are bugs, right? So whenever you program, you always have to like try to debug your code, try to look for error, you know, see if what you're doing is correct. Cause sometimes, man, things can really go the way how you see it, the way how you want it to go. So now let's wait for this code. And now let's try entering. First, let's test this functionality, right? So you see, after we enter the code, if this is correct, which is using this as this logical operator equal. So if the enter code is equal to send, remember we assign send to the code that is saved within the database. If it's equal to send, then we should save it and return the user to login. Now, if it is not, right, then we say it is failed. So let's test that. So let me enter a wrong code. So if I enter this, I should get another mistake. It's a query set has not got send code. Another mistake again. Then look at this clearly. So send code that filter objects. Now we loop to it. If code in this should be code. This you remember this would be a variable we should access. Yeah, so that is it. This should work. This should work. Okay, see, now it say verification field. Sorry guys, that was another mistake I made. That was another mistake. So say for code in this right here, then we send should be equal to this. So if it's equal, then we save it, return the user. So if it's not, then we say okay, so that worked. So let's go again. And also I forget to display the link back. So you guys have made a lot of mistakes here, man. So let's go back to field verification. All we have to do now is just pass in that link to account verify. So if we refresh this page and then you click on, it should take you back to this. So they test it again, enter in the code, say, hey, this is wrong. Go back, you try again. So now let's enter in the actual code. Remember, I've already received this. Now let's enter in the actual code and see if this will work. I don't know, guys. My internet is very messed up because I'm using a VPN. I'm currently studying in China. You know, in China, you don't really access these like international stuff like Gmail. You have to use a VPN, and sometimes the internet is really messed up. So sometimes it takes me takes really time for these things to load. I don't know why, man. But it's really frustrating sometimes. I don't know why it's keep loading. Okay, here's the email now on this. Okay, there's the code, so I can just copy this code and go here and then enter, right? So if I click on verify, this should take me to login. Click on verify, boom, it tells me verification failed again. No, that's not true. Say verification failed. So what am I doing wrong? Verification failed. What am I doing wrong, y'all? Verification failed. Why? What am I doing wrong, y'all? This must be the code, man. This is the code, right? The code, let's try again. Maybe I made a mistake. But this should work, man. Keeps telling me verification fail. Okay, let's try to debug this. So let's go over this, right? So for code, go to this for code in send enter code. What's happening now? Oh, maybe I have to add this in the context too. Maybe. No, maybe you have to add this in context. Maybe you think that's a problem. No, boy, let's try. Okay. Let's see if this is the problem. I don't think that's the problem. What's happening? What's happening, guys? What's happening? What's happening? Let's try again one more time. If this doesn't work, then what's going on, guys? After we implemented this logic, yeah, this is the time. Let me just look at the reference code, okay? Because I build this stuff first, but sometimes, man, this thing always happening. Right, so let me look at the reference code and see what I did wrong. Let's see what I did wrong. Maybe I made some sort of typo or maybe an error. Yeah, so let's look at this. And that's the thing about coding, y'all. So let me see where I implemented this logic. Oh, I made a mistake. No, so instead of this integral, it should be instead of the integral, it should be equal to the form. Yeah, should be equal to the form. So you should say receive code because send, then this should work now. That was a very funny mistake that I made. I apologize, but I think this should work, right? This should work. Boom! As you can see, yes, everything worked. So guys, this was my mistake, right? Remember this this is the form, right? So now all we're trying to do is we're trying to check if the form, if the code that's being entered in the form is if it's equal to this logic right here. So remember we loop through this code, this send code models, and we assign send to this send code. So we're checking if the receive code is equal to send. If it's equal to send, then we should save it within the database and return the user to the login page. If it's not equal, then we say verification fails. So that was my mistake. I made a mistake. What I did was I said if the enter code, and that was on my part. I apologize for that. But I think this is working fine, as you can see. Now I can log in, right? Now I can log in. When I log in, boom, they're taking me into this welcome page to say, hey, welcome to the app, and everything worked completely fine. And so guys, this is the end of this video, and I really enjoy making this video. And if you guys love seeing some of this stuff, please like and also please don't forget to comment down below. And if you're interested in even more advanced Django projects, please let me know in the comment sections. And thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate this. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in another video. Okay, so that's it.